right, thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about Wakelet and how you can use it in your class with your students and how you can have your students use it as well. All right, so first thing we're going to start off with is what is Wakelet? So Wakelet is a platform that allows you to save, organize, and share content from across the web. So you can pull in, we're going to talk about things that you can pull in, but you can pull in websites, you can pull in articles, you can pull in stuff from shared drives, Google Drives, those types of things. You can add videos, you can add text. It's just a platform that allows you to save, organize, and share content in that you can find on the web.
And so Wakelet, just understanding it, there are 4 basic steps with Wakelet, and we're going to go through all of those, what those steps are, and then we're going to take you through the process of how you can create your own Wakelet, how you can use it with your students, and then how you can even use this in your classroom or just for yourself.
So the 4 basic steps to Wakelet is bookmarking, organizing, collaborating, and sharing. So those are kind of the 4 basic elements to Wakelet. You can bookmark things, you can save things onto Wakelet, you can organize them into things that are called collections, and then you can collaborate on those. So if you wanted to add people to your collection and have them add resources to it, you could do that as well. And that goes for staff or students. And then sharing. So then once you create those collections, you can share them out, and then people have access to the links and things that you've shared in that collection.
And then, so this is just a couple pictures of what Wakelet looks like when it's done. So this is some screenshots of Marshall's account. So you'll see that this is what Wakelet looks like from his end. And then he has different collections made. One is digital citizenship for different weeks and their resources. So if you were to click them and open them, they would actually be a collection of a lot of different resources just all in one spot. So it's a really nice way to stay organized for ourselves as educators and also for our students, because we know the Google Drive can just get overwhelming and very disorganized very, very quickly. So Wakelet is that amazing space that allows us to kind of utilize it and do it for us.
So the first thing that we talked about is bookmarking. So you can save links, content that matters to you, and you can save it from a variety of places. So if you found YouTube videos, if you found tweets that you wanted to save, if you found things from your Google Drive, from Reddit, things like that, you can add those things to your Wakelet collection. And then they're, like Satar said, they're all in one place. So if I'm going back to my days in the classroom. So I'm a former 4th grade teacher. So if I was going to be doing something on, let's say, missions, I could create a collection and throw a bunch of resources about missions in that collection. And then I could share that collection with my students. So then they don't have to hunt around and try to find information. I can just kind of provide that information for them, and I can provide all those resources for them in one spot.
And then this page kind of takes us through what your collection would look like. So you can add a URL, you can add bookmarks, you can add different links from different websites, you can add text, YouTube, you can save tweets, images, different PDFs, and it's really simple to do. You can either just copy and paste the link from a tab, or you can hit the plus button and you can start searching for things within Wakelet itself. So it's a really great way to just put all of your resources in one spot. So a way that I would use this in secondary is when my students are doing a research project, I would give them all of the approved sites in a Wakelet instead of having them search for different links or posting a lot of different resources in Google Classroom and having that resource topic be huge. I could just post a Wakelet that goes along with each research they're doing, or a Wakelet that goes along with the lab that we're doing. That way it's pulling all the different resources. Oh, we had a note, like different note sets that I created in Google Slides. Well, here's a link to that. Here's a link to this article. So if we were doing an entire unit, I could create a Wakelet with all of the resources for that unit. And then if my students are absent, they still have everything in one spot, all the projects, they still have all their research. And then we'll get into how it makes doing like your bibliography super easy, because if you keep all your tabs open, it'll track it and save it for you. So this is just a nice little overview of what it looks like from your end as you're creating it and how easy it is to kind of slip things in.
So this is the web interface. So if you were to get on your Chromebook, your laptop, your desktop, this is how you would add things to a collection from here. Next thing we're going to go into is we're going to go into the mobile. So they have mobile apps as well. So if you are reading articles and stuff on your phone or your tablet, whatever, you can quickly add those things to an existing collection already. So this is an example of I was adding a resource to my Hour of Code collection. So I was going through, I was reading an article. This is an article that I decided I wanted to add to my collection. So this is on an iPhone. So I would click the little share button at the bottom. I would find Wakelet, and then I would scroll through. I would find my collection, and then it adds it to my collection. So it makes it really nice where you don't have to be on a computer to add things to a collection. You can create collections from the mobile app. You can do all those things. The way that I use it is I usually create my collections and stuff. I usually create those on the computer, and then I use the mobile app as a way of kind of just curating resources and adding them to the collections. But you can create collections and stuff on the mobile app as well.
And the next thing we're going to talk about is just organization. So in one of the 4 steps of using Wakelet, it helps you stay organized. You can organize your bookmarks, websites, resources into stunning collections. So that's what Wakelet uses, like Marshall had explained earlier, to talk about each collection that you have. So you can create collections on any subject. You can reorder the content just by dragging and dropping. You can add text, images, PDFs. You can add so much within that collection. That way you don't have to go to multiple different places in order to have all of your resources in one spot. So it's really, really nice because everything looks nice. It has a little image and a text under it. That way you can go just by looking at the images, or if you would rather read the text, it tells you what everything is, where you're going. But it's really nice to have everything in one place.
So this is a little example of how you can go through and reorganize things. So maybe I want, this guide to be the first thing, or maybe I want it to be the third thing. I can go through and I can reorganize the way that when someone clicks on my collection, the way the resources are kind of laid out, I can kind of decide what order I want them to be in. So it makes it nice to have everything in one place, but then you can kind of customize it and you can organize it in a way that you want it to appear to when people come and visit your collection.
And then another thing that you can do with Wakelet is you can collaborate. And there's 2 different ways that you can collaborate with other individuals on Wakelet. So you can share your Wakelet collection with someone else and just through inviting that person via their Wakelet username or email address. Or you can also share your Wakelet collection using a shareable link or code, which allows someone to contribute to your Wakelet collection without them actually having to create an account. So there's 2 different really great ways. So let's say that you have an account and you're working and you're just kind of collaborating with your PLC. You don't have to worry about setting up an account for every single person within your PLC. You can just share that shareable link or code. And this is really great for your students too, because in your classroom, you can have your students kind of collaborate and put some resources together, and it's all in one spot. And all you do is you just share a link or a code with your students via Google Classroom, and everyone can collaborate together.
So to share it with somebody, when I'm in my collection, I'm going to click on contributors. And then here's where I have my couple ways that I can share it. I can copy that link and I can paste it into something like Google Classroom. And then I can give them that code. If they had like mobile devices or something, I can give them that QR code. They could scan it and it would take them straight to this Wakelet collection. And then this is how you would, more likely than not, this is how you would share it with someone who doesn't already have a Wakelet account. So this would be, we're going to get into this on the next slide, but this would be when you're sharing it with students, or if you have colleagues that don't have a Wakelet account, you would do it via the shareable link and the code. If you wanted to share it with somebody who already had a Wakelet account, at the top where it says via name or email, you would just start typing in their name, and then it's going to show up. It's going to show you the people that you follow and that have Wakelet accounts, and then you can share it with them as well.
And then let's say that you wanted your students to collaborate on a Wakelet collection. So Marshall just showed you the link and the code that you can share with them. And that's what the students would need. They would simply follow that link, enter in the code, and they would be able to add resources to your collection. It's a really, really nice because they cannot delete other people's items or the actual collection themselves. They could delete what they have added, but they can't delete anything else. So you don't have to worry about adding in all of your students into your Wakelet collection and then having one student who accidentally deletes something, because that's not going to occur. So that's really, really great way of collaborating without, worrying about something disappearing. So Wakelet's really, really great on that. And then we also have a link to a full guide on collaborating. So if you just click on your copy of the presentation, if you click where the word says here, then you'll be taken to that full guide on collaborating. And then another thing to note is students who are under 13 per Wakelet cannot create a Wakelet account. So if the student is under 13, they cannot create a Wakelet account. So then the only way to share or have them collaborate would be through that code or the link. But even students that are over 13, you can still have them collaborate with the code, but definitely show this as a resource to your students in the secondary level, because it'll be a great way for them to stay organized. Because one of the things that our students really struggle with is just being organized with all of their resources, their Google Drive, their backpack, their pockets, their phone. They're just all over the place. So if we can just give them some resources, and those that like it and can gravitate to it, they can even use it on their own. But then we can even show them that this is a Wakelet collection that we have created as teachers that go along with this project that they're doing.
And then the final step to Wakelet is sharing. So when you're finished collecting your resources and you've put them in a collection, you can keep it private or you can share it. And there's different levels of sharing. So you can make it public. So that means anybody who finds that link, anyone who goes to your Wakelet profile and finds that collection can see it. You can share it with colleagues. You can share it with students. You can share it on social media or on Google Classroom. So it just kind of depends on how you want to have it set up and how you want to share it and what kind of level of access you want to have in to your Wakelet collection.
Now this page just shows you how you can share it. So once you've created your collection, there's going to be a share button at the top. When you click that share button, you're going to have a bunch of options. You'll have a link that you can just copy, have a QR code. You'll have different buttons that'll take you to Twitter, Reddit, Remind, and Google Classroom. And then the last button on the bottom on the right-hand corner, that's Microsoft Teams. You don't need to worry about that because we're a Google district. But you could definitely share it straight to Google Classroom, share it to your Remind. You could just copy the link if you wanted to just send this link only to specific kids. So let's say we're just making a resource for some of our kids that need more help or they need more resources. You can just copy that link, go to Google Classroom, and send the resource to those specific kids that asked, or those specific kids that need it. So all you need to do to share is you click the share button at the top and then choose whichever option you'd like.
And then another option that you can have is when you are creating your collection, you can enable a feature that says enable copy. So that means if somebody were to come across your collection and you made your collection public, they could copy your collection and then they could share it and they could add it as like one of their collections. So if you were working on a collection of, ELA resources or something, and you wanted to be able to share that, and maybe another teacher at a different site or something wanted to have that collection for theirs and they didn't want to have to go through and find all those resources as well, you can enable a copy and then someone can go through, they can just basically copy your collection and then they can have it as one of their collections. So it depends on the type of resources that you're sharing, but this is a nice way to kind of collaborate with other teachers and share and just say like, hey, here's a collection that I've made. If you want to go ahead and copy that collection and use it as your own, like feel free. So that's kind of the same premise around where we are creating docs or slides and then we share it and then someone says, file, make a copy. It's essentially the same thing, only it's you're allowing them to make a copy of your collection of resources that you've created.
And then I just wanted to add, sometimes if you're searching through different other collections that are just out there that are public and you're trying to make a copy of them, if you can't make a copy of it, it's because the person who created it didn't enable copy. So some of them will allow you to copy them, some of them won't. And it completely depends on the person who created it. And it is bothersome sometimes when you want to copy it and kind of make it your own, but you can't. but it's just one of those things. So definitely if you're creating it and you're going to share it with your colleagues, definitely enable copy. All right, and so something else that you can do with Wakelet is you can copy, embed, and so much more. So you can notify users when you are adding to your collection, so you can tweet it out. You can export your collection as a actual PDF, so you can make this into a PDF and take it. You can allow other users to copy your collection as long as you just enable that function at the very top. And you can also embed this collection into your blog or your website. So many of us teachers have a website that goes along with our classes. You can actually embed your different collections that you're making through Wakelet right into your website. So if you're changing your website every week to go along with what you're doing, or some teachers are even making like a Bitmoji classroom where their students are able to click on different pictures and links, you can even do that with this as well.
And so here are some ideas of ways that you can kind of use Wakelet. And so we broke them up into those 4 categories: the bookmark, organize, collaborate, and share. Anything that's underlined is hyperlinked to an example. So if you were going to just use it and create a collection just to bookmark some things, you can save tweets to view later. You can save research. So if you are having your students do research and on a specific topic, they can go through and they can use Wakelet as a way to kind of organize and save different website and different research sources that they've come across. You can save open tabs there. So like Satara was saying earlier, I can have like certain tabs open and maybe I'm looking at different sites and I want to save them for later. I can save those and I can bookmark them to a specific collection. I can save on the go. So like I was sharing with you guys how I use it on my tablet and on my phone. I can be reading articles. Oh, I want to save this to a specific collection. Save it to the Wakelet collection through the app. I can organize, so I can organize my research. I can create portfolios. My students can create portfolios. So if they have a collection and they want to submit and save links to maybe art pieces that they've done or written pieces that they've done, they can save them there. You can do blogging there because you can add text to a collection. You can upload videos. If you wanted to collaborate and you wanted to do like exit ticket or classroom discussions, you wanted to do book reviews, you wanted to do a birthday wall, these are all kind of examples of ways that you can use Wakelet. And if you wanted to just share it, so if you wanted to put resources together to share for learning, to share for research, to share for development, you wanted to share a portfolio or share a blog, these are just a few ways that you could use Wakelet beyond just, okay, I'm going to save it. I'm just going to save it and have it as like a collection of links to look at later. There's different ways that you can kind of go about using Wakelet collections.
And so this slide is just telling you that you can get Wakelet as an app for Apple. You can get it on Android phones. You can get the extension on Chrome Web Store. You can get the extension if you use Firefox. So Wakelet is everywhere. You can get it everywhere if you want, or you can just use it on the internet. But it is really, really nice, especially for myself, when I'm using Wakelet on my phone, because I'm a part of a ton of like different teacher Facebook groups. And when someone shares something and I can save that link right to a Wakelet collection instead of just saving it on Facebook and kind of forgetting about it, it's a nice way for myself that I can keep myself organized because I'm pulling things from everywhere, regardless of if it's from Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. We're constantly looking at different resources and ideas from other professionals in our area or even in other countries. So it's a really great way to just organize and stay organized.
Yeah, and depending on your collection, you can have a collection of just things that you're kind of storing up and links and stuff that you're saving, and it doesn't have to be a public collection that anybody else sees. It can just be a collection for you. So if you're just compiling resources for just yourself for a project that you're going to be working on in your class or something, you can have just a private collection that you're the only one that sees it. But it's a nice way because we, like Satara said, we are, we're on Facebook, we're on Pinterest, we're on Twitter, we're in our Google Drives, we're just on the internet. Wakelet's a nice place to kind of just have everything saved in one spot. And then, oh, I wanted to, look for the specific website. Where did I save that again? Instead of trying to remember, you can just say, okay, well, let me go to my collection on this specific thing. And you know that it's going to be there.
Okay, so how to set up a Wakelet account. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to wakelet.com and then you'll click where it says sign up, it's free. And it'll be a big green button right there, or there's always a sign up button also in the upper right hand corner. Yeah, go ahead.
And then just, I know we're talking about setting up for ourselves, but if you were to share it with your students, where at the top where it says enter code, that's where they're going to go to enter the code that you give them to your collection.
And then when you click sign up, it's free, you're going to want to continue with Google. But if this is your students, just like Marshall said, don't have them create an account, only if they're 13 and over, but they never have to create an account regardless of if you're just sharing or collaborating with them. They just go to where it says enter their code.
So now we've created our account. How are we going to create our first collection? So when you log in, you're going to see on the left-hand side there, you're going to see how many collections you have, how many bookmarks, how many things that you saved, and if there's any type of group collection. So the group collections are if you have a Wakelet account and somebody else has a Wakelet account and you're like collaborators on a particular collection. So here, this is an example of Sitar's Wakelet. She has two collections, the online safety tools for parents. You can see in the bottom right, there's like a little blue globe that's telling you that it's a public collection, so anybody can view that. And then the technology integration ideas, that one has a lock. So that one's a private one. So that's one that only she can see. And then if I want to create a new collection, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on that big green plus button that says create a new collection. And then I'm greeted with this. So then now I have options I can add a cover image, I can add my title, I can add a background image. So right now the background's just gray. If I wanted to add a background image, I could. If I wanted to write a description about what this collection is all about, I can do that. And then where you see the green plus sign, that's where I'm going to click to start adding resources to this collection. So like I said, yeah, I can enter my title here. And then when I click on that green plus, here are some options of things that I can add to my collection. So I can just paste a URL. So if I was on a website that I wanted to add to this, I copy the URL, come here, click on the green plus sign, paste that URL in there, and then it's going to add that website to my collection. If I just wanted to add some text, I could do that as well. If I wanted to add a YouTube video, if I wanted to add a tweet, if I wanted to add a bookmark, if I wanted to add an image, if I wanted to upload a PDF, if I wanted to add something from my Google Drive or from my OneDrive, if I was using Flipgrid and I wanted to add a Flipgrid video to this collection, I could do that as well. And then like we talked about before, I can add a background image. So right now, like I said, the background is just gray, but if I wanted to add a cool little background image, I could do that as well. And then like we talked about earlier, enabling the copy. So if I wanted to make this where I could have other people view my collection, copy my collection, and then they can kind of customize it for themselves, you would want to turn that on here. And then here's the kind of the levels of access that people would have. So it could be private or it could be public as well. And then this is where you would go to kind of change, like I said, the access of what you wanted people to have to your collection.
And Wakelet also has something known as the Surf School. So if you click where it says Surf School, you're just going to be essentially scrolling through different Wakelets that people have created. And so there's Wakelets for sharing content. There's Wakelets all about collaboration, Wakelets for students. And so there's a lot of different Wakelets that you can go through and navigate through in the Surf School. So it's definitely something to check out when or if you create a Wakelet account and collection.
And then just to go back, because I forgot to mention this, so up at the top where right now it says private, there's actually 3 levels of access that you can have. So that's private, so that means only you have access to it. You can also have it be unlisted, which means only people with the link can view it. So then if you got that link and you shared that link, then those people could actually see it, but it's not going to show up on your public profile. And then there's public, where anyone who goes to your Wakelet profile will be able to view the collection. Okay, so then adding the extension. So the extension is enabled for us. So you can add, if you could just click where it says add the Chrome Wakelet extension here, you could do that, and then you can add it and it'll show up in your Chrome browser. So if you didn't have the extension and you found a website that you wanted to save to a collection, what you would have to do is you'd have to open up a new tab, you'd have to log into your Wakelet, go to the collection that you wanted to, and then click on the green plus, click paste the link, and then put it in there. if you have the Wakelet extension, you're on a website that you want to save to a collection. It's just like how I was showing you how I use it on my phone. I would click the little blue W, and it's going to give me like a list of my collections. I can click which collection I want to save it to, and then boom, I'm saving it there. And it takes out a lot of steps of things that I have to do to get a resource into my collection.
And so if you were to get the Wakelet extension, there's 6 amazing ways that you can use the extension. So you can save web pages to bookmarked collections. You can save Twitter resources and tweets because we're on our phone, or you're on like a tweet deck or anything like that on your device. You can easily just save resources that people are constantly posting to Twitter. You can also just right click on any content or link, and you can actually save it to Wakelet, which is really, really nice because you can be on a web page with another link on it or another image, and you're like, you know what, that's a great image, I want it. And then you can right click and save it right to a collection. You can use that Wakelet link for your extension just as a shortcut to get to all of your extensions. That way you're not having to open a new tab, go to wakelet.com, log in and get to it. You're just clicking the little W. You can make Wakelet your default tab so that every time you create a new tab, it's actually your Wakelet account. And that's really nice to turn off and on, and it's really easy to turn off and on. And the reason why you could do that is, let's say you're just researching and you're looking for different ideas to teach about magnetism or Earth's crust or Earth's layers or the Roman Empire or the history of the American Revolution. And you've got all these tabs open because you're looking at all of these different sites. And you're like, you know what? I love the video from PBS. I like the pictures from Google. I like this site that another teacher created. By having Wakelet as your new tab, once you open a new tab, it'll actually give you a choice on the right-hand side to add all of those tabs into a new collection or to add a few of those tabs into an existing collection. So it makes it really nice to create new collections or add what you already have. And then you can also drag and drop your open tabs or save all your tabs to a Wakelet collection. So let's say you even just want one tab. You can just drag it and drop it right in to Wakelet, and you can save that one specific tab.
So to go back to the making the Wakelet the default new tab, so I, like Satara said, sometimes I turn that on and off because if I'm in like curation mode, like if I'm on the computer for the pure purpose of like I'm looking for resources to add to collections, I'll turn that on because I know that's kind of like my purpose. So then it just makes it easy. And then, I mean, there are times that I'm just on the computer and I'm like, ooh, this would be great to add to a collection. And then I just use the extension as normal. But sometimes I turn that on when that is like my purpose for being on the computer, is I'm looking for resources to add to a specific collection.
And then there's a link right below all these boxes. Wakelet actually created a little video talking about all of these and how you can even turn on and off the default new tab for Wakelet, how you can do all of that, how you can save everything. So Wakelet created a nice little short, I think it's 2 or 3 minute video, and it's really nice and easy to just look at it and just gain ideas from it. So that is also linked right below on the bottom of this slide.
And then I know we talked about this already, but I just wanted to hit it on it one more time. So when you're sharing Wakelet with your students, or you are sharing it with members of your PLC that don't have a Wakelet account, you're going to click share, and then you're going to want to get that shareable link with them. And then you can either post it into Google Classroom, you can copy that link, email it to your PLC, or you can just copy the link. And if you were creating a collection for a specific group of students, copy that link, post it into Google Classroom, create that assignment for those specific students, and then you can share it with them as well. And so just to kind of reiterate, students under 13 are not permitted to create Wakelet account, and that is per their privacy policy as well as ours. And then, but you don't even have to, that's the great thing, is that they don't even need an account to be able to interact with this, to be able to add resources to it, to be able to collaborate with their peers and stuff on curating resources for a project or a research assignment or something that they're doing. All right, so that's all we have for you guys today. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about podcasting and ways that it kind of helps out in the classroom, how it can enhance our listening skills, our reading skills, our literacy skills, our writing skills, and how podcasting can kind of support that. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Like Satara said earlier, we are going to have a special guest on tomorrow. We're going to have our district instructional coach for writing. Mary Asgill is going to be joining us, and she's going to be talking about how podcasting can enhance the writing portion. So the writing, the literacy, the reading, those types of things. So make sure that you check that out tomorrow. It'll be same time, 10 o'clock, and then we'll have our Q&A section at the end. And so now we are going to jump into our Q&A.
So the first question we have is Wakelet versus Padlet, thoughts and opinions. Great question. And they're slightly different. So Padlet, yes, you can use it as a curation for resources. Padlet with the free account, you can only have 3 Padlets at a time, and then you have to delete them. Last time I checked, you could only have 3 at a time. I don't know if during COVID-19 they made that go away. But like if you were using this when we get back into our brick and mortar classrooms, Padlet, you can also have students respond to each other. And with Wakelet, it's more of a collection of resources. So what your students are doing is they're compiling different resources, or you're compiling different resources into one spot. And then in Wakelet, when you click on that resource, it takes you to it. In Padlet, you can compile those resources the same, but you can also use it as more of like a student interaction. So students are responding to a topic and they're brainstorming, or they're putting their answers kind of thing. Marshall?
Yeah, so they are the same but different. So yeah, like Satara was saying, like Padlet is more, you can have more interaction. So you can post a question, students can write responses on there. They can reply to each other's kind of thing. There is, I'd have to go back and check too, but I want to say that they have switched to where with the free version, you get a limited number of Padlets. But then with Wakelet, I like it because it's free. I like it because there's no limit on how many collections I can make. I can easily add students to it, and I can share the link with them. So we probably didn't really answer your question, but they are, I don't think it's necessarily one versus the other. I think they can both be used, and they can both be used for different, they can both be used differently.
And then the next question, is this an approved extension for TUSD Chromebooks?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Does each collection have a different code? Perhaps I just want kids to go into one collection, not other collections, and same with parents going into a specific collection. Yes, so each collection is going to have its own specific code with it. So each collection has their own link, has their own code.
And then just to jump back to Padlet, I just looked it up. If you have a free account from Padlet, you can only have 3 pads, essentially. So you can only have 3 boards made at a time. And if you want another one, you either have to upgrade or delete what you had. With Wakelet, with your free account, there is, as far as I know, no limit.
I haven't come across anything that talks about a limit at all.
Yeah.
Next question. How can I copy a Wakelet link to my Google Drive? I'm trying to think of how you could do that, or I don't know if necessarily well, if you wanted to, I guess a way that you could do it is if you wanted to, you could create a document that's titled like Wakelet links, and you can like title the links and then, title each collection and like put the link to each collection underneath that title, like on a document. You could also just kind of bookmark Wakelet at the top of your Chrome browser, so then it's easily accessible. I don't know if you're wanting to copy it to your Google Drive to make it easily accessible or not, but yeah, I would just, what I do is I have it bookmarked on the top, and then I have the extension. So if I want to go to it, I either click on my bookmark or I go to the extension.
Yeah, and let's say that you wanted to have a non-internet copy of your Wakelet collection. You could download your Wakelet collection as a PDF and upload that PDF to your Google Drive. But the whole point of Wakelet is an interactive collection of organized resources. So you have one place that you go to that has everything you need from 20 different sites. So you click and it takes you wherever you need to go. If you wanted to just share that Wakelet link with Google Classroom, then you could open up your Wakelet account, go to that collection, because it'll show all of your collections right there with the title and whatever picture that you associated with it. And then you could click share, and you could take that link and share it to Google Classroom and title it when you share it to Google Classroom what that is for your students. But it's just a nice way to organize. I hope we answered your question. I hope we answered what you meant by copying a Wakelet link to Google Drive.
Yeah. If we didn't, throw something else in the Q&A, and we can try to answer that for you. Will the students be able to watch YouTube videos on their Chromebooks from Wakelet? They should be able to. Right now, they should be able to, yes.
But Wakelet still takes them to YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say they should be able to, but go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say what I heard was that like the restrictions on YouTube were lifted, but I also don't know 100% if it'll work. So you could Wakelet, you click and it takes you to where that video is. But if you are having trouble with your students accessing a specific video, throw that video on Edpuzzle and then link your Wakelet to that Edpuzzle video. And you're kind of like bypassing all of the filters on YouTube. But last I heard was that all the YouTube videos were working currently on distance learning. I don't know how that's going to look for like brick and mortar when we go back. And then next question is just for clarification. If I want to share with only my students and PLC team, I select unlisted when selecting a level of sharing. Yes, either unlisted or private, because technically you can share your private.
Yeah. Just don't make it public if you don't want just anybody to come around and be able to see it. Do students need to download anything on their Chromebook prior to using Wakelet? Would they need to add the extension? So no, they don't need to download anything. You give them the link, they click on the link, and then they're going to enter that code, and then it's going to ask them to type in their name, and then they type in their name, and then they have access to the collection. They don't have access to adding the extension because the extension requires an account. So I think the extension, I'd have to go back and check, but I believe the extension, because Wakelet only allows 13 and over, we might have had it set where it's only open for students in secondary, but I'd have to go back and check. I know teachers for sure can add the extension, but students don't have to do anything. They just need that link from you and then the code. They enter that in and they are good to go. Okay. I'm checking. I know you talked about exporting as a PDF. I'm checking something. Oh, okay. So this is what I thought. So something that you could do. So going back to how you can copy a Wakelet to your Google Drive, you could download it as a PDF, and it is like a hyperlinked PDF. So your resources are clickable. So if you wanted to make your collection, download it as a PDF, and then add that PDF to Google Classroom or something like that, you could do that. And those resources are clickable. They're a clickable resource. So I wasn't sure. So while you were answering another question, I was downloading one of my collections in the background. So that is something too that you can do. You can download it as a PDF, and then those resources are clickable.
Is that collection that you downloaded something that we could see? That way we could have a little visual of clickable PDFs.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Here's my collection here's my actual collection that I did on a bunch of resources for Zoom. And then I went to these three dots and I went PDF export. And then I exported it as a PDF. And then here's where I would get, like, if I wanted to embed it on my website, or if I wanted to look at the analytics of like how many times people have visited my collection and stuff like that, I could do that. So I went to PDF export. I exported it as a PDF, and then it told me it was ready. So I downloaded it. And then when I opened it, here's my PDF. It tells me who it was created by. It was, by Wakelet. Here's my header. And then here's all my resources. So if I wanted to go to this one here, I could click on it, and then now it takes me to that specific website. And then I can go back to my PDF. And so now these are all clickable.
Cool.
So if I wanted to just export it as a PDF and share it with my students that way, I could do that as well. I wonder if the video takes me to YouTube. Okay, but yeah, so that's, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, this just opens up a whole new world for us teachers, because now if you wanted to ever share a PDF via email with parents or with your students and not even worry about Wakelet, you can put all these collections together, share a PDF on Google Classroom, through email, your website, through Seesaw, whatever you use, and then your students now have access to everything and anything. So this is a really easy way to make a PDF with all of these links, so the old way was you open up a Google slide or a Google Doc and you put in all these pictures and these images, and then you hyperlink them. And so all of those extra steps to hyperlink, whether you're in Google Slides or Google Docs or even Google Sheets, and then you have to go to File, download as a PDF, make sure all your hyperlinks work, make sure that you've grabbed the hyperlink from the correct spot. But then with Wakelet, you're just dragging and adding your tabs and pictures, and then, I'm going to download as a PDF. Okay, done. So
it does all the work for you.
Teacher aspect, that's super exciting, especially like with all the projects and research and resources that we're constantly sharing and giving our students for each unit and each week and each topic. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I was hoping when you said download as a PDF, I was like, oh, I hope it's a clickable PDF. So I started doing that in the background. I'm like, oh, yeah. Awesome it is.
Good. Yes, the PDF download is super easy, and I'm so glad it's hyperlinked, that everything's hyperlinked, and that you don't have to do it. Because hyperlinking it's a process, and then when you accidentally link the wrong thing and you don't know till you sent it out and someone tells you, and now with Wakelet you don't have to worry about that.
Yep. Yes. PDF download, easy breezy. Absolutely. Yeah, I just think the whole sharing it with parents like that just makes, because I know I've gone through and I've done it the old way before Wakelet was a thing, and I've created my document, I've added my hyperlinks. Now I just create a collection, download it as PDF, boom, done. Awesome.
Well, then I'm even thinking, because Wakelet, you can also just save a website as a website and then download that. So if I wanted to, for example, like Google Arts and Culture, because they have a ton of like virtual field trips right now. If I went to something, added that to a Wakelet collection all by itself, and then just downloaded that, then it would, like, that whole website is now PDF linked.
Yep.
That's fabulous. I'm just thinking of all these ways I could use it. Okay.
I know.
Cool.
All right. Are there any other questions? I even learned something new today too. I didn't know about the clickable PDF, so that's awesome. All right. If you guys have any questions, please email us, let us know. We're here to support you. And then we will hopefully see you guys here tomorrow.
Yes, spread the word about our podcast featuring Mary Asgill. It'd be awesome to have a huge crowd for her when she educates all of us about listening and literacy. I don't know if any of you have ever spent a couple minutes just talking to her, but I leave every conversation way smarter than when I entered it. So it's exciting.
That makes two of us.
Oh, Mary is the best. She is.
She is. All right. We'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.